Hey guys, it's Jonathan from Explore It. Today we are going to be playing the Domain of Mirza Noctis. We are playing actually the expansion today. So this is an entirely new way to play the Domain of Mirza Noctis, where the Blood Lord Mirza Noctis has actually ascended to godhood. He's reached the pinnacle of his power, and we find out why he's been working so hard to gather all of this blood that he had done in the core game. The expansion takes place after everything has happened and the heroes have not been successful at stopping Mirza Noctis. And what we find is that great portals are opening all across the land, ushering in a new age of destruction and mayhem. Horrors are starting to breach this world, and they're basically trying to destroy humanity and everything that we know. So possibly was Mirza Noctis working all along to try and stave off this destruction, or was he working to try and control it in some way? So this is going to be a fun game today. As you can see, I've got 3 heroes here at the bottom that you'll be able to see as we play the game. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and just tell you a little bit about how the game might unfold for us. There are several new mechanics at work that you're going to see in this chapter, in this playthrough. So I'm excited for you guys to see all of that. If we take a look at the heroes first off, let's take a look. We have a Moon Elf Scout, Xavian Moontide. Now, the Moon Elf is actually a race from the Forests of Adramon expansion box. I wanted to play a Moon Elf today for a couple of different reasons. You can see up here on the screen their abilities, and I'm not going to go through all of them for you. You can kind of see what they do, and that will unfold as we play the game. Next to Xavian Moontide, we have Soon Lightbringer. This is our Arkan Monk. Now, an Arkan is like an angel type of a race. So we have a kind of a holy angel with us. Now, the monk is actually a healer, as you can see. And this type of healer is more of a triggered healer. So you're not going to see huge healing amounts from this character, unlike some other, as compared to some other healers. This one actually works on a triggered basis. So when certain things happen with this particular hero, then the heal will also trigger. And you can see that on the character roll card here. Next to Soon Lightbringer, we have Wonderthumple, our Leprechaun Bard. I thought this would be a fun one to play and to kind of show off. The Bard is an assist, as you can see. The idea with this character is that you're going to be trying to gain gold, and you'll be able to basically help the group through the songs that you spin, that you sing here. So that will be a fun one to play as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shuffle all the decks, and then we'll return and get into the idea of how this game is different from the base game. All right, so I've shuffled all of our decks. As you can see, we have our day bar on this side. We have our night bar on this side. We have the entire map completely shown in this playthrough. That is one thing that differs from the core game versus the expansion. When you play the expansion, you'll be actually laying out the entire map, and you begin the game with the entire map shown. This gives you a couple of additional things to think about, and you'll kind of see that as we unravel the game. For instance, one is that all 4 of the monasteries are visible, as well as the crypts. I've also gone ahead and placed the crypt lock tokens here. And I've added a couple of hex tokens underneath them to kind of build them up a little bit taller so that you can kind of see those icons a little better. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 crypts. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 monasteries. And then as you can see, we have a whole swath of villages in the Canary here. Before we get started, let's talk a little bit about how the setup is different. We've already talked about the map and how that is visible. The other difference is that when you begin the game, you're actually going to begin in a different location of your choice. Now, in the core box, you begin in a random village. In this particular version of the game, you can choose whether you start in a village, in a monastery, or in a crypt. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to begin play in a monastery this time, and that is going to give us a couple of different things. The expansion rulebook will lay out how that is different. So if we take a look at that, starting equipment in monasteries or crypts. In a monastery, we start with 5 gold each, 4 times your food rating, and 3 gear upgrades total. Now, I've already outfitted my heroes with a little bit of starting gear upgrades. This comes from the 3 gear upgrades here, as well as from Valor. I've also added a holy water and lesser potion to each of my heroes' backpacks. I want to begin the game with one of those for each. So if we start in a monastery, we're going to start with 5 gold each, minus what I've purchased here. That's going to be 2, 3. So that'll be 2 gold each that we start with. And then we're going to increase food up to 4 times your food rating. And then we also begin the game with the grace attached to the monastery where we begin. So before we actually place our heroes on the board, I think what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the horrors and figure out which one is going to show up first. Okay, if we go back to the rulebook, we can take a look at how the horrors emerge. And what you're going to be doing is rolling a 12-sided die to see which of the 4 horrors is going to show up first in the world. So I'm going to roll the die, and we get a 10, which is disaster. Okay, so disaster is going to be the horror that appears. And so that I'm going to grab the disaster deck. And another difference between this game and the core game is that you will get these horror decks that actually enter play, and they enter play on the first slot of your circumstance bar. Now, you'll notice I placed it on the night bar. If we roll a 1, because this is the first slot on the night bar, we will draw a card from the disaster deck instead of drawing a card from the night or the day deck. So this is a result of a 1, whether or not we've moved during the day or during the night. And so what I'm going to do is actually move my day deck down 1 so that I know that this slot is not in use. And so what we're going to do is draw 3 cards for day and 3 cards for night, and we'll place those cards in the respective slots here. Okay, so let's draw those cards. All right, we have an interrupt. Whenever you draw an interrupt card at the beginning of the game, you're going to discard that card, and we'll just basically shuffle it back into the deck here. All right, so we have 2 investigations that have shown up on the day side here, and we have a treasure as well. Okay, so let's take a look. Luring Shadows. This is a navigate investigation with a red rune attached to it. It is going to be on quadrant A, and it is going to be right here. So I'm going to place down the rune stones for these locations because they are already in play. This is on, let's see, quadrant B, which is all the way over here. Right there. And that does it for our day deck here. Let's draw the cards for the night deck. Ooh, we have a treasure, the phylactery. We have our heroic. Cursed one is not in play, so I'm going to place that card aside. We have another investigation. And we have a bounty for the Mad Alchemist. All right, so the reflecting lake. This is also revealed. It's, everything is on the map, so we can place this down right away. And this is going to be right over here. So we have a couple of rune stones here, 3 on the map so far. And now that we've placed Disaster's deck, we're going to move on to placing Disaster's token. And this is going to determine where the horror is going to first appear on the map, and then how it's going to move. So I'm going to grab Disaster's placard here, and we're going to take a look at it. It says, Disaster emerges from the breach. Roll any die when Disaster appears. If the result is odd, Disaster is represented with the 3 hex token. If it's even, and it is even, it is represented with the 4 hex token. So I'm going to grab Disaster's 4 hex token, and it matches the icon on the placard here. And we're going to place Disaster on a random monastery, then it roams twice. Okay, so we have to roll a random monastery. We're going to roll, let's roll 2 dice. The purple one will be for the horror, and the white one will be for where our heroes are going to start, okay? All right, and we have 7 and 6. So if we look at that, I bet you it's the same one. Nope, it's not. Okay, so 6 is going to be where we begin. We begin on monastery number 2, which is going to be right here. That's actually right kind of in the middle of where our runestones are, so that's a pretty good spot. The 7 is monastery number 3, and so that is going to be right up here. All right, so now we have to have Disaster roam. It's going to roam twice. I'm going to designate the die that goes furthest on the tray as the direction, and then the die that's closest to me as the die for the distance. All right, direction of 4, distance of 5. 4, it's going this way, so... Okay. And then we're going to do this again. It's going to roam one more time. And you'll notice that Disaster is actually partially off the map in a negative space. This is actually okay as long as the token is on a spot on the map. And you'll find that in the rulebook. All right, so 1 for the location, and 4, so it's going right back. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, that means it's going to be taking over that monastery in probably the first round. Now, if we take a look at that card again here, Disaster's placard, we're going to see that its movement speed is 2 hexes per turn at level 5. Now, each of these horrors are variable level, and so it begins the game at level 5, and every time it takes over a monastery, as we can see on the Disaster's placard here, it is going to gain another level. So as it basically commands the map, and as it is destroying the map, it's going to gain more and more power. And subsequently be more difficult for us to destroy. All right, so I think we're about ready. This is kind of a quick setup. I've gone into more detail in other videos, so I don't want to talk about everything. But at least you can kind of see where we're at. Now, I've already spent some of my gold. Let's take a look at the grace that we are going to gain from starting in the second monastery. For that, we're going to need the monastery placard. Okay, and now this is the Grace of the Sun. Once per game turn, and this is a day effect, so as long as it's during the day, this will affect us. Once per game turn before the event phase, if you've completed a circumstance, you may select and play one card from the day bar. Well, that's awesome. So before the event phase, we actually can get access to these cards again. Additionally, the group receives a -1 bonus to all stat tests during the day in the event phase for each revealed monastery. Okay, so there are 4 monasteries. They're all revealed. So what this means is we're going to gain a -4 bonus to every stat test that we make during the event phase. That's amazing. That is going to allow us to. That actually might change what I'm gonna do. And you'll see why. I think I want to tap into the Bard's power before we get going too much. So let's take a look at that. It's gonna be an interesting thing here. Okay. So, and that is only happens during the day while we are in the event phase. All right, so what I think we're going to do is we will leave our coin on the day side. We won't flip it over to the night because we want to make sure that we take advantage of that -4. So I'm going to actually place the 4 right here just so we can see that we are gaining a -4 to our stat tests. All right, so how is the game different? How is the game turn different? The one thing that you're going to find is that in the core game, Mirza Noctis is working and toiling and just trying to gain as much blood as he can. He starts the game at 0 blood and he works his way up to 100. In the expansion, it's opposite. Noctis has gathered the blood that he needs and now he's expending it. So the idea is that if the blood pool drops to 0 and the horrors are still alive, we have lost the game. So we need to make sure that we destroy all 4 of the horrors that are going to appear. And each one has its own deck that we are going to be interacting with as we play the game. Now, what you'll find is that each of the horrors, obviously, will be appearing on the board at specific points in the blood pool. So if we take a look at Mirza Noctis' Ascended placard, we find that the first horror appears at 100, the second horror appears at 80, and it appears at level 7. The next horror appears at 60, and it's level 9. And finally, the 4th horror appears on the board when Noctis is at level blood pool 40. Basically, what Noctis is doing is he's trying to hold these portals closed, but bigger and badder things are coming through. And so he is actually working at using the blood that he has gained. Now, he also is helping the players. The first part of each game turn, we will see Noctis working on behalf of the people who are trying to fight these horrors. Our heroes are included in that. So what we're going to do is we're going to roll as part of the game turn. We're going to roll all 7 of his collector dice, and we're going to add up the total and see if we have at least 4 matching sets. And if we take a look at his placard, you'll see that Noctis begins the game with 7 collector dice. Starting at 90 blood, he loses 1 die for every 20 blood removed. So he has 6 dice at 90, he has 5 dice at 70, 4 dice at 50, and so on. So he will be gaining less and less of these collector dice, and that is also going to show that he's losing his grasp over his powers. All right, so beginning with the first round, we are going to roll his dice. This is going to be the first part of our game turn. And we have one that is kind of cocked here. All right, so we actually have 2, 2, 2, 2, 3, 1, and 1. All right, so if we add up this total, we have 5, we have 10, we have 13. Now, if we take a look at Noctis's action, we've rolled a 13. Each hero chooses 1 to gain until the end of this game turn. We can boost an ability rank by 3, block by 5, or gain evasion of 7. So that's pretty good. I think let's go with our ability rank by 3. And I will just use, each hero can choose their own. So I think I'm just going to go with that. We'll see if we need to use abilities this turn. I know the Bard will definitely go for Dirge of the Dead, his first mastery, so that will be a rank 8 instead of a rank 5. All right, now we have also gained 4 of a kind. We have 4 2s. So if we take a look at that, we find that if at least 4 collector dice results match, or all dice match, the group gains a Dark Grace. The Dark Grace gained is determined by the matching result, which is a 2. Okay? Each Dark Grace has a rank equal to the amount of matching dice for that result. We have 4 dice that match, so we have gained the second Dark Grace, and its rank is currently 4. And if we look at what this does, it says, reveal a number of cards equal to Unhinged Gia's rank from the top of one deck of your choice. You may arrange them in any order, then place those cards back on top of their deck. Then this power loses a rank. If its rank is 1, you may place the revealed card at the bottom of its deck. So we can now use this whenever we would like to actually use up this power. And it loses a rank every time that we do so. All right, so I've just noticed that we forgot to place the Mad Alchemist green rune from this boss bounty investigation. So I'm going to place that. This is a green rune stone, and it's placed on the bottom hex of hex tile N, which is actually right near us. Okay, so we've rolled for Mirza Noctis. The next part of our game turn is going to be the movement phase. And something special happens for our scout in the movement phase. Our scout has recon and camouflage. And so what this ability is going to allow us to do is spend 1 energy, and that will give us the ability to roll a couple of stat tests for recon and camouflage. So I'm going to use some stat dice here, the purple to indicate we're rolling recon and camouflage. His rank is currently 4, and we do not gain the -4 bonus because it is not the event phase. So we're going to roll normally. And I see that I have a 2, a 7, and a 5. So that is 1 success. So I'm going to just write down that we have 1 success that we can use this game turn. All right, so the next thing, I think what we're going to do is we are going to stay in place, and we are going to use the Bard's ability here to possibly gain some gold. We are going to skip the skill phase. We're not moving. The next thing that happens is going to be the circumstance phase. Again, we're in an event location, so we do not have to roll for a circumstance. Finally, we are in the event phase, and so now we're going to use the Bard's ability here. So I'm going to spend 2 energy, and up to once per game turn while you are in a location that sells items, you may spend 2 energy to roll a stat test against a mastery of your choice. If the result is a success, gain gold equal to 1/3 that mastery rank. All right, so I'm going to use a purple die here. I'm going to roll Dirge of the Dead. It is now the event phase, so we're going to have a -4 bonus to this roll. It is a 7. -4 is a 3. So that is a success for us. That means that if the result is a success, gain gold equal to 1/3 that mastery rank, rounded down. So we're going to gain 1 gold from that. Okay. And finally, that is going to move us into the villain phase. Now, during the villain phase, we are going to do a few things. The first thing that is happening in the villain phase is that our blood pool is being reduced by the number of horrors that are in the game. So if we take a look, we have Disaster in play. So we will reduce the blood pool to 99. The next thing that happens is Disaster is going to, we're going to roll the moon die. We're going to consult Disaster's placard here, and it's going to show us on the horror action table. This is a shared table, by the way, so this action table appears the same in each of the 4 horrors with one noted difference. There are certain entries on this table that do not present a result for the horror that is in play. So for instance, if we're looking at Disaster, we see that a hex is going to give us something, the 5 and the 6 is going to give us something, and then 10 through 12 will also yield a result. Now if we roll a 2 through 4 or a 7 through 9, we will not have this particular horror act in this game turn. And of course, as more and more horrors are entering the game, you're going to see this begin to populate, and you'll have something that happens every single game turn. So for now, we have a pretty high chance that possibly we will not see an action. All right, let's roll this 12-sided die. Rolled an 8, and that is yielding an action that is not common to this horror, so we will not actually play that result. That is going to spur us into the movement phase for our horror, and we know that the Disaster here is going to be targeting the nearest monasteries, and we see monastery number 3 is pretty close by. So we're going to move 2 hexes, 1 and 2, and now Disaster has just taken over the first monastery because it was so close. I'm going to just put a hex token on this monastery. It is now destroyed, and Disaster's level is increased from 5 to 6. Just like that, the horror is getting more powerful. And I'm going to record that level on the top of the horror placard. You're going to see that it is now level 6. All right, so that is going to end our game turn. I think next turn, let's do it again. Let's see if we can't get the Bard's special ability. If you'll notice, if we roll a hex, the entire group gains the benefits of a power-up card. So I'm going to try to do that one more time. Because we're in a location that is an event location, we don't have to roll our skills, which means we're not actually losing any food in this process. So let's do that. So we're going to roll, first of all, for Mirza Noctis at the beginning of the game turn. And we have results. We do not have a Dark Grace. We have results of 5, 10, and 14. So let's check out what Noctis does. Result of a 14, again, is each hero chooses 1 to gain until the end of the game turn. Boost an ability rank by 3, block 5, or evasion. So again, we're going to just use that ability boost here. I'm not going to use the recon and camouflage. I think that we're okay without using that. So let's go ahead and roll for the Bard. We're skipping again the skill phase and going right into the event phase. we're going to roll a die here, and it is an 8 minus 3 now, because one of those monasteries has been destroyed. So what this means is the grace that we have, grace of the sun. So because we have had a loss on our monastery, our Grace of the Dawn bonus is dropping from 4 to 3. All right, so that is going to be 3. We have an 8 minus 3 is a success. And we also gain Noctis's bonus. So we gain another gold. I need to get this rank up so that we can actually gain more than that. Maybe I'll just do this maybe one more time, and then I think we're going to get going on our adventure. All right, so the next thing that happens is the villain phase. Once again, our blood pool is going to be reduced by 1. It is now 98. We're going to roll the moon die and see what disaster does. We get a result of 4, which is not a result for this particular horror. And now disaster is going to move 2. The closest monastery is number 4. So we're going to move 1, 2. All right. Next game turn. We're going to stay in place here one more time. We don't roll skills. We're going to roll. Mirza Noctis is going to act. And we have, let's see, we do not gain another Dark Grace. We have 5, 10, 12. So 12, again, is the same result. We get to, oh, no, that's a different one. So 12, until the end of the game turn, increase your movement speed by 1, and you may adjust the circumstance die result by 1. So we do not need to worry about moving or gaining the different circumstance. We're going to stay where we are. We're going to roll. Wonder Thumple is going to be trying to win over the crowd. Let's see if we can gain a power-up here. It's an 8. All right, so we do not gain a power-up. We do get a gold, but that's okay. It has been kind of a lackadaisical start for us. He just is not very entertaining, this Leprechaun Bard. I feel like he needs to up his ante here. They need to go on some adventures first and get some stories that they can tell. Maybe his stories aren't very believable yet. All right, so we're going to jump into the villain phase of game turn number 3, and that means we are at 97 blood, and we are going to roll the villain die, and that is a 7. Again, we do not have a 7 as a result on this particular villain table. And then we are going to have disaster move 2. 1, 2. It is getting closer to this second monastery. The monasteries are starting to fall, and it's no wonder the people don't enjoy Wonder Thumple stories. There's just too much going on in the wilderness here. All right, we're going to try one more time to see if we can't get that power up. I really want that power up. And we have a pretty good chance of getting it with a -3 bonus to our roll. All right, so we are going to roll Noctis's ability here. And again, the higher the number, the better result. As Noctis loses power, these numbers are going to decrease. And this was a very low result. 1, 2, 3, 4. Plus 6 is 10. So Noctis, again, is going to give us a bonus to our movement speed and our circumstance die result. And of course, we're wasting the things that he is doing for us. We are just not, we're not ready to go on our adventure yet. So we are going to use the Bard's ability one more time. Going to go down to 0 energy. And we are going to roll his Dirge of the Dead. He is basically trying to win over the crowd. And look at that. That is a 4. Reduced by 3 to a hex. So that means we actually are going to gain the gold, and we draw a power-up. Let's see, we get a 1 gold, and then we get a power-up, and it is applied to the entire group. This is a +1 to defend. Guardians of Faith work tirelessly to pierce the veil of darkness. Doing so requires years of patience and knowledge. So each of our heroes are going to gain a +1 to their orange defend. That is helpful. Now, also in this gameplay, you will find that you see these blood modification icons. They do not apply in the expansion, so we will not be modifying or using this red blood dye. This is only a mechanic for the core game. Okay, so then we are moving into the villain phase, and once again, we are going to reduce the blood pool down to 96. The villain is going to go. We roll a hex. Startling find. Immediately play 1 card from the lowest level horror deck. All right, so let's do that. We're going to draw a card from the disaster deck, and this is played right away. Now, if you'll notice, this is a investigation card, and investigations in the horror deck are treated in a slightly different manner. Instead of playing a investigation on the location where it appears on the board, these investigations are played exactly where you are on the board. So seconds to days. A meadow full of moonrose lay before you. The beautiful flowers take a full moon cycle to bloom, and yet before your eyes, even as you blink, they have partially bloomed. You blink again, and they have fully blossomed. It's as if days are passing in seconds as blurs of bird and insect hover over the field. Then, as quickly as they rose, the flowers wilt and make way for new sprouts. Now, this is a explore card, and if you'll notice, we've actually been camping here. So what I haven't been doing is giving us the camping bonus. If we take a look at the movement, we actually see that you gain a -1 bonus to all skills rolled this turn, and it stacks. And the group heals 3 health and 3 energy. So my bard should actually be recovering some of his energy. We have done this now 3 times, so he should actually be recovering all of the energy that he's using to make this Dirge of the Dead happen in the bar of this monastery. All right, so we are going to gain -3 bonus plus the -3 bonus that we gain from the Blessing of the Sun. That's a -6 bonus to attempt this particular explore roll. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to designate each of the colored dice here to one of our heroes, and I'm just going to go in the order of the skills. So green is the first skill on our roll placard. So I'm going to have Xavian take the green die. Monk is a yellow, and the Bard is a blue. Okay, so now what's going to happen is I'm going to roll these dice. We're going to get a -6 bonus to this roll. Let's see what happens. All right, so let's go in order. So a 9 -6 is a 3. Xavian has a success. The Monk in yellow, a 5 -6 is a critical success. That means we're going to gain a bonus. Whenever you gain a critical success in playing an investigation, the hero who gains that critical success gains 1 rank of their choice in any stat. So I think what I will do is let's go ahead and give a rank in chakra flow. So that's going to go up to rank 4. All right, and then moving on to the blue die result, and that is a 9. That is actually going to also succeed with a -6 as a result of a 3. Our Bard has a 7 rank for Explorer. So we have successfully managed to roll this card, and we have completed it. Now it does say each hero may discard units of food up to their madness to reduce the damage they suffer from this card's trap effect. Now if we take a look, it has a nightmare level of 8. These cards in the horror decks do not have a suspicion level. They still have a trap, but the suspicion is based on the roll result, just as it is in the core game. It's just a little bit different because you mitigate these this damage and these numbers using your madness. So it's affected by your madness. So as you can see, the icon is a little bit different compared to, let's say, Reflecting Lake here. And I'll put both up so you can see. All right, so it has a different icon because of the madness here, and then it has a nightmare level instead of the suspicion level. All right, so we managed to survive. We gain a purple rune. So at the bottom of this card, it is a purple rune. That is awesome. And purple runes are special to the expansion. You do not necessarily gain these purple runes in a core game. You can gain them if you're using them in the dungeon, because there's a purple dungeon deck. And that can be used outside of the Breach game mode. But normally the purple runes are reserved for the expansion. So I am going to write purple rune here on our battle mat, and I'm going to show that we have 1. All right, so that is the villain phase. The villain now is going to move 2, and it's going to take out that second monastery. Boy, we should really get moving here. All right, so it's going to move 2. I'll grab a hex token and put it right over that location. Oh man, it's going to sweep down and take both of these in no time. All right, and that's going to take away all of the items that we can purchase in monasteries. So we had better get moving. I think what we're going to do next, let's take this monastery, the Blessing of the Sun is going to be reduced to a 2. The next thing we're going to do is, let's look at the map a little closer. We have some runes available to us. We do not have a lot of gold. We are completely full on health and energy because of the camping that we've been camping here. So I think what we're going to do is we will get moving this turn. Let's roll Noctis's action. Hopefully we'll get a large amount. All right, that is a little better. And we do get... we get 5 2s, a 3, and a 1. All right, so that is 14. And if we look at that result, that is you gain boost, rank of 3, block of 5, or evasion of 7 this turn. So let's take a look at what this... I think we're going to go for this red rune here. And that is going to be Luring Shadows, which is a green. It's a navigate. So I think what we'll do is we'll take that ability boost. And so navigate. It will help us to get where we're going. And it will help us achieve this particular investigation. All right, so also because we have 5 of the results of a 2, that's going to increase our Unhinged Gia's rank from a 4 to a 5. And I think what I'm going to do is use 1 rank right away of his Unhinged Gias. So what that's going to allow us to do is reveal a number of cards equal to Unhinged Gia's rank from the top of one deck of your choice. You may arrange them in any order, then place those cards back on top of their deck. All right, so equal to Unhinged Gia's rank. So we are going to be able to draw 5 cards and put them back on top of the deck in any order. So I'm going to select the disaster deck here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Ooh, there's a lot of bad ones. All right, so I'm going to, there's 3 boss enhancement cards that are going to enhance this boss, and they were right on top. So I'm actually going to be taking those and putting them on the bottom of those 5 cards. So at least we have 2 cards on top of this deck that will be a little bit better for us than the 3 boss enhancements. All right, so Noctis is doing what he can to help us. Moving on to our movement phase, we are going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is moving recklessly to get there. So moving recklessly is going to cost us 2 energy, and it's going to mean that we cannot roll all 3 of our skills. We have to select one of the skills to automatically fail. And I think what we'll do is we'll go ahead and automatically fail survival. I'm going to try and get us some extra gold here. So we will use 1 unit of food for the bard and 2 units of food for our moon elf, and then we will roll green and yellow. Our green is at a bonus of minus I think it was 3, or the rank is increased by 3. So we have a 2, which is a success, and a 6, which is a failure, except for the bard. The bard is going to gain 2 gold. All right. And we did manage to make that roll for navigate. This is not the event phase, so we do not gain this blessing of the sun just yet. We do manage to make it to this location. The next thing that happens is a circumstance. So we're going to roll, because it's the day, we're going to roll on this bar. We're going to see what circumstance we get. Now this is a result of a 1. So what does that mean? It means we are automatically going to be playing the disaster card because it is a result of a 1. Okay, regardless of whether it's the day or the night, we are playing that card. All right, so we are playing time loops, and check it out. This is a navigation investigation. Because it's a navigate, we still have Noctis's special ability that he's given us. So, a Rona rushes out from inside a nearby home, gathering up her long skirt in her hands. She doesn't see you, but looks over her shoulder with a terrified expression, and then runs blindly past you, heading toward the tree line. You experience the same event with the same woman, the same way, 6 times in a matter of seconds. Time seems to be broken here. All right, so we are going to roll the green die. Again, we're going to put these in order here. So green is going to represent the scout, yellow is our monk, and blue is our bard. All right, this is a critical success because it is the... no, this is a circumstance phase. We do not gain this during the circumstance phase, so I can't claim this as a particular bonus. However, we do make the scout does make it. The let's see, the monk does not, and the bard actually makes it with a critical success. So that means the bard is going to get a rank increase as well. Let's go ahead and add a attack rank to Wonder Thumple. All right, so maybe he practices swinging his, short sword at this poor lady that he sees a number of times in a matter of seconds. All right, what this means is we have 2 heroes that have gained a success. We also gain the navigate card. This means we have also, hang on a minute, may have produced a nightmare result with that 9. The monk, yes, if half the group has 4 or more madness, you become caught in time loop and must camp here next turn. So the nightmare is a 7+. What this means is if we roll over 7, and we rolled a 9, then whatever the trap happens, and this particular trap is a purple, it means it is a madness. So I'm going to take one of these purple cubes, and that will represent the first madness that our monk has. All right, so we gain a purple rune from this card. We now have 2 purple runes. And that will lead us into the event phase. Now, actually, before we do that, check it out. Let's look at that monastery placard again here. The Grace of the Sun. Once per game turn before the event phase, if you've completed a circumstance, you may select and play 1 card from the day bar. Additionally, the group receives a -1 bonus to all stat tests. Okay, so we are going to also be able to play a card of our choice from this location. I think what we're going to do is let's take this treasure. That is going to be awesome. So what is this? This is the Rune Seeker. This ancient stave has a pattern unlike any you've seen. You can feel a tangible web of energy surrounding it. The wielder of this staff gains a +3 penalty to target dice rolls in combat. Once per game turn for 1 health, you may roll a stat test against your highest ranked mastery. Instead of rolling a core die, you're going to roll the moon die. If it succeeds, you heal a target's energy equal to the roll result. If the result is a critical success, the group also gains a random rune. And this is usable once per game turn. That is awesome. I think we're going to give the Rune Seeker stave to our monk. All right, so the wielder bonus on this is a +1 to blue, so that means we are going to gain +1 rank in chakra flow. And let's go ahead and use this right away. His health is at full, so we're going to use 1 health to activate the Rune Seeker. We're going to roll a moon die, and if it is a success against our highest ranked mastery, then we get to heal a target's energy equal to the results. It is a 3. That is a success. That means we can heal a target's energy. The Bard has the least, so I'm going to heal his energy to full. All right, so we've drawn Rune Seeker. We've played that extra card because of the blessing that we have. I'm going to flip over the next day card and check this out. This is a interrupt. New item. New items are for sale in monasteries. This is the Roon Wand, and it costs 8 gold. You may sacrifice a rune to gain one of the following effects. 1 die rolled during the villain phase is treated as a result of a hex. You can teleport the group to any revealed location, or each hero may fuse up to 2 of their gear upgrades. That's a pretty handy item. Now, check it out though. This item requires 2 crypt keys to have opened 2 crypts. So we do not have any crypts currently open on the board. So this item is actually, though it's available, they know about it, but it's locked down in the dungeons yet. So I'm going to set this card aside. It is an interrupt, so we do play it right away. So I'm going to set this card aside as a reminder that we can purchase these in the monastery. We draw yet another card, and this is a discovery, the observation tower. All right, so this is not a interrupt. I'm going to place it in its slot here. All right, that is going to end the circumstance phase. Now we go into the event phase. We gain a -2 bonus to all of our stat tests that we roll. We are currently on this location here. This is Luring Shadows. So we will play this card. Luring Shadows. Unnatural shadows move across the ground, but no bodies claim them. The shades lead you to a remote corner of the forest. You find a circle scorched on the ground and shapes of burned bodies on the trees. Their spirits have been roaming aimlessly and have led you to their death site. All right, so we have no clues on this particular location. We are going to roll Navigate. Now, not only do we have Noctis's +3 to our ability rank still, but we also have a -2 to the roll. Oh, well, that's a good thing because we rolled a critical failure here. This is going to be reduced to an 8. That is a failure because his rank is considered a 7 at the moment. We have the suspicion is actually going to go off here. This means that we've triggered the trap, and our scout is going to lose 3 health. Okay, looking at the monk with a success, we've rolled a 4, reduced to a 2. So this is a successful roll. That means we're going to also gain the rune reward on this card. It does not trigger the trap. And finally, the bard is going to have rolled an 8, -2 is a 6. And that is actually not a success because he needed a 5. Or less. So at least the monk has been able to successfully help these shadows and has found a rune in this area. So we gain a red rune from this card. Okay. Just like that, we have 1 circle rune and 2 star runes. All right, so that's going to end our event phase. We're going to place another card down. It is another treasure. That's awesome. I'm going to also take this red rune and place it aside. And that leads us to the villain phase. And our villain is going to be reducing the blood pool. We are now at 95. And then we're going to roll to see what disaster does. And that is another hex. Startling find, immediately play 1 card from the lowest level horror deck. Again, we are playing a card from disaster. Let's see what it does. A glance at disaster is all it takes. Scars and scabs heal of their own accord, but your healing magic is infected. It now turns the flesh a sickly orange and green. For the remainder of the game, healer rolls that heal a target with a mastery also give that target health regen equal to the healer's madness until the end of combat. This regen stacks with itself and similar effects. If the target has less madness than the healer, the target also gains 1 madness. So now our healer is going to be basically increasing our other hero's madness just by healing them. All right. So I'm going to place this down here to remind me here. And finally, we will go ahead and move disaster twice. 1, 2. And he is moving closer to this location here. Wow. So a lot has happened in the first 5 game turns of our quest. Okay, so moving on, I think I have figured out what I'm going to do for our next trick. We are going to take on the haunted house, Kaeln's Manor. We have an opportunity here to use the divination that Mirza Noctis has given us, the ability to look at decks of cards. So we currently have a dark grace called Unhinged Geas, and we have 4 ranks in that, so that we can use a rank of that to look at the top 4 cards of any deck. Now this is an awesome thing because the Kaeln's Manor boss actually will be bringing dungeon cards into combat with us. Now this is a spirit, And we do have the monk who is good against spirits. We have favorite opponent spirit here. So I think we're going to have a pretty good chance of taking on Kaon's Manor. We're going to be gaining a blue triangle rune, 2 power-ups, and a bunch of additional stuff. So in order to do this, we're going to take a look at that boss card and check it out. Hall of Mirrors and Welcoming Party both make use of the green and red dungeon decks. So before we actually go into combat with this thing, I'm going to use Noctis's Unhinged Gears to give us a boost. Let's take a look at the red deck first. We're going to basically pull the top 4 cards off of the red dungeon deck. We're going to look at them and place them back on top of the deck in any order that we choose. Oh, I found one already. Oh yeah, this is going to be great. Okay, I'm going to keep it secret here. I am putting Death from Above, Cage Match, and Gigantic Swarm on the bottom. Yeah, we'll do it in this order here. Okay, just to make sure, definitely. All right, the next thing that we're going to do is reduce that power down to a rank of 3. All right, then I will go ahead and use it again to look at the top 3 cards of the encounter deck. All right, definitely. All right, I'm not going to tell you which card I put on the top, but I will say that we've put the Hangman and the Vampire Bats below it. So we will place that here. And our Dark Grace goes down to a rank of 2. All right, finally I'm going to use it again to look at the top 2 cards of the dungeon deck. And we will just take a look at those. Ah, ouch. Okay. All right, so I will put 1 card on top. And then finally, I'm going to use the last Unhinged Gears rank that we have. And it says, if its rank is 1, you may place the revealed card on the bottom of the deck. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to place the card that I revealed. This is Fire Blast. I'm going to place this on the bottom of the deck. This could have done some massive damage to our heroes if we failed that skill. All right, so that is done. We now are going to be entering into the Mirza Noctis phase of the next game turn. Let's roll those dice here. Hopefully we'll get a large number. Let's see. Oh, not really. So we have 3 1s, 3 3s, and a 2. So let's see. We have 5, 10, 14. 14 is going to be each hero chooses 1 to gain until the end of the game turn. We could either take Evasion 7, Block 5, or boost an ability rank by 3. And that is going to give our Scout a rank of 7 this game turn for Recon and Camouflage. I will go ahead and do a +3 to Cleanse, which is just going to increase the amount of healing that the monk can do. And then I will do +3 to Dirge of the Dead, and that will give all 3 of our heroes a bonus to their purple first mastery. All right, before we move into the movement phase, let's use this Rune Seeker. the treasure that we gathered last game turn. The wielder of the staff gains a +3 penalty to target dice in combat once per game turn for 1 health. Let's go ahead and use that right away, down to 10 health. You may roll a stat test against your highest ranked mastery, which is 8. So we are going to roll with a moon die instead of a core die. And that is a 5, so that is a success. That means one of our heroes is going to gain a +5 to their energy. So let's go up to 9 here for our scout. Our scout will actually be using recon and camouflage this turn during the movement phase. So we will go ahead and roll for that. And we have 3 successes. So Xavian has 3 that he can use to actually affect the game in a certain way. Remember that recon and camouflage can be used to automatically succeed on a stat test or re-roll a circumstance that was just rolled. All right, so that was the Noctis phase. Our movement phase is beginning. We're going to move 3. 1, 2, 3. And we are going to see if we can take on Kael'n's Manor. All right, so we rolled for the stat test. Now we're going to roll for skills. And we've only moved cautiously this turn, so we do not have to worry about only rolling 1 skill. All right, so we have rolled an 8 for navigate, which is going to fail. That means we're wandering this turn. We rolled a 6, and that is a failure. And we rolled a 2. So our Xavian Moon Elf has found food, but our Bard is going hungry. All right, good. Goes up to 10 gold over here. And do I want to use 2 of the scouts' recon and camouflage so that we have landed on this location and treated those 2 navigate skills as a success? We need 2, so I would need to use 2. I think I'm going to do that. So I really want to get this taken care of as soon as possible so that we can affect disaster here and take him out. All right, so what that means is 2 of us have used the scout's ability to actually treat the navigate as a success. We do manage to land on Kael'n's Manor, and that will spur combat with the boss. Now, we do not have a circumstance this turn, so we will go ahead and look at Kael'n's Manor. Now, this is an opponent with Outlast. It's a spirit. So what this means is we have 4 plus 2 per hero. There are 3 heroes. It means its Outlast is 10 to begin with. Now, we have the monk who is good against spirits. So as we enter this haunted mansion, the monk is able to try and mitigate some of this power. So automatically, we're going to have a favorite opponent reduction of 1. And then at the end of the game turn, Kael'n's Manor will also have a reduction of 1 Outlast. If we look at the passive abilities for Kael'n's Manor, left with little choice. While Kael'n's Manor is involved in combat, the opponent phase of combat occurs before the declaration phase. Now this is out of step with normal combat. So we will actually roll Kael'n's Manor before we roll the heroes, before we figure out what our heroes are doing. So let's roll the opponent phase. We get a 2, Absolute Darkness. So we have a green ability. Those who fail suffer 5 energy drain and become frightened. Those who critically fail also suffer 2 critical health damage. Now, we are still in the event phase. We are facing a boss on this event location. So that means we get our -2 to our rolls here. which is going to prevent, hopefully, a critical failure. So we know it's going to be doing green. I think what we'll do is all three of our heroes are going to roll navigate this turn. So we'll do that. And what do we get? We have a 9 minus 2 is a 7, which is a failure for the scout. We have a hex for the monk. And we have a 10 minus 2 is an 8, which is a failure for the bard. All right. So what this means is those who fail suffer 5 energy drain and become frightened. All right, so 2 of our 3 heroes are going to be frightened. I think what we will do is I will go ahead and have the recon and camouflage use that last ability that he had to gain a success for the scout. And then we have Wander Thumple as having suffered 5 energy drain. So he will be down to 3 energy remaining. And he is now frightened. Let's take a look at frightened. Frightened heroes may only use their defend action and do so with a -3 penalty. Roll survival during the resolution phase of each round of combat. If successful, the condition ends. So Wander Thumple can only defend now. Our Leprechaun is just terribly upset here. All right, so if we take a look at what has happened, we have a critical success for a stat test against an opponent with Outlast is going to decrease the Outlast by 2 instead of 1. So at the end of this turn, we will have decreased 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Kaon's Outlast by 5. All right, so the next round is going to begin. We have 5 Outlast remaining. 2 Outlast is automatically going to be coming in from the reduction of the reduction of Outlast at the end of the round, and then the spirit, the monk is good against spirits, so we have a -1 from that. Let's see what Kaon's Outlast does next. Now, Wander Thumple can only use his defend this round. He is shaking in his boots. I really should have used his Dirge of the Dead last round, and that would have prevented this from happening, but that's okay. All right, let's see what the Haunted House has in store for us next. We roll a 4. That is the Playroom. Those who fail suffer 8 energy drain. Those who critically fail also suffer 3 piercing critical health damage. And if all heroes fail, something really bad happens. The doors slam shut, locking you inside. Children's dolls and toys are scattered about, surrounding you, watching you. All right, so we have entered the Playroom. We are going to be rolling, let's see. We are going to be rolling the Explore this round. The Bard cannot. He is just defending this round. So I'm going to leave off the blue die. The Bard does not get to participate. He is just very scared at these dolls that are appearing in this Playroom. We have another Hex. All right, so the Hex is going to be a -2. We have a 5, which is -2 is a 3. And is that a success for the monk? It is. Our monk has a rank of 3. That is also another another success. So just like that, we have reduced Kaon's Outlast by 5 again this round. So let's go ahead and deal this damage. Because these 2 heroes have successfully rolled the Explorer, they do not suffer any damage from the Playroom. But the Bard is going to suffer 8 energy drain, and his defend is at half, so he can reduce it by 2. That's 6 energy drain. He is left with 0 energy and 3 health remaining. And we have defeated Kael'n's Manor. So let's take a look at all the stuff that we get from defeating this spirit. Not only have we put the manor to rest and all the spirits are content in their death, but we also gain a blue rune. So I'm going to put a 1 underneath our triangle rune here on the battle mat. Each of the heroes are going to gain 3 food. And 10 gold. And that is definitely a good thing. All right, so then the next thing is one of our heroes is going to get a +3 to their second mastery, and one is going to gain an awakening brew. So let's go ahead and roll target dice for that. And we have the highest and the next highest. So we have the scout is gaining a +3 to the second mastery. All right. And then we have an awakening brew for the monk. All right. And then finally, we get Aperion, the legendary ally. So let me find those. Aperion is pretty awesome. And by the way, this Aperion is actually based off of one of my favorite book series and one of my favorite authors, Jim Butcher and the Harry Dresden series. If any of you have read that series, you will know how cool Bob the Skull is. And so this is kind of an homage to him. So check it out. We have gained Aperion, and he is a ally now that is going to help us complete our goals. Let's take a look at some of the special things that he can do. So, Nihilium Corpus. Aperion is an elder spirit bound to a human skull. He does not have a health value and cannot die. Each time his energy drops to 0, lose Aperion until the end of the next game turn. Then he heals to full. Spirit of Intellect. Whenever a hero fails a stat test, they may gain 1 madness to treat the test as if it were a critical success. Prodigium Peritus. Up to once per game turn, each hero may gain 1 madness to gain favorite opponent against an opponent type of their choice until the end of the turn. This is going to rock because the Bard now can also use that special ability to gain a critical success using this. Of course, he's going to gain madness in doing it, but very worthwhile. So we now have Aperion. Talking Skull. All right, and I do suggest any of you who love a good fantasy story, if you check out Harry Dresden, it's set in modern times. Love the stories. Very great author. Very highly recommended. All right, so that is going to be it, except for the 2 power-ups we each gain. So we're not done yet. We each gain 2 power-ups. 2 for the scout, 2 for the monk, and 2 for our bard. Let's see what we get. All right, so we have a +2 to survival, and the group also gains a blood magic tier. That's awesome. So I'm going to increase Xavion's survival to rank 6. And we gain a blood magic tier. So let's check this out. Mirrored Symbiosis. Now this is a blood magic spell that is in the expansion. 1 ally becomes mirror bound to 1 opponent this round. Each time that ally is targeted by the opponent, the opponent also suffers health damage equal to twice your tier. So basically our tier is starting at tier 1. So this just means that whenever the ally is targeted, the opponent is also gaining damage. Alright, so I will put that here. This blood magic is available to each of our heroes. So any one of our heroes can take critical damage to cast this spell. Alright, now we have a familiar card. Choose an option below. Draw and gain a random familiar. One familiar in play gains 1 rank, or you may move up to 3 matching stat ranks from your hero to your familiar. I'm going to save this one for now, and I will take a look at the familiars in a moment to figure out which one is the best for our scout. So I'm going to place that right here. All right, let's look at the 2 cards that the monk has gained. We have, +1 each ability. I cannot stand idly by as our world crumbles to dust before our eyes. So this is a +1 to all of our abilities. And we have a defend +1. Like pawns in a game, we are his pieces. He anticipated our movements once again. We cannot let him win the day. All right. So those are our 2 power-ups for the monk. And finally, we have the 2 power-ups for our bard. We have, +4 health for our bard. He has needed this. Keep this card after gaining its rank bonus. You may discard it to remove 2 critical wounds. So he is gaining 4 health from this power-up. And all of a sudden, he has a decent amount of health. All right, and then we have choose 1 stat. You get a +2. For the people who have gone missing, for the children's and the innocents, I will press on. Our leprechaun says, having left the playroom of this mansion, he has some added resolve. Let's go ahead and increase his +2 to any 1 stat. Let's go ahead and increase his strafing sidestep to rank 6. That will give him a little extra damage that he can deal. All right, so that is that. I'm going to place our +2 card here just so that we remember we can use it to get rid of some critical damage. All right, I'm going to take a moment and check out some familiars. Okay, explorers, I have chosen the living sword. So inside this mansion, not only have we found Aperion, the skull, an ancient spirit that is locked inside this skull, but we've also found a living sword, and Xavian Moontide is now tied to it. So our living blade is rank 2, and it will allow us to deal a little bit extra damage, which is super helpful to us. Very good thing to have. All right, so that will conclude our event phase. I'm going to place a hex token on this space. And then we have our villain phase. The villain phase begins with a reduction of 1 from the blood pool. We're now down to 94. And then the villain is going to act. We get a 12. Now, if we take a look at the placard here for disaster, we find that 11 and 12 is unique to disaster. So we are going to read this out. We have rewrite history. All clues in play shift down 1 slot. Any on the first slot of either bar move on to disaster's placard. For every 3 clues on disaster, remove them from the game, and disaster gains a level. Thankfully, we don't have any clues on the board at all, so we do not have to worry about this particular effect. Now, if we would have been adding them to the board or been rolling to have them added to the board, then obviously this could be a very detrimental thing. So thankfully, nothing happens. Disaster continues to wreak havoc on the land, and now he is moving twice closer to this location here. All right, so what are we going to do next? Maybe we should head down here and face the Mad Alchemist. We can stop by the monastery along the way. So let's do that. First of all, we're going to roll for Mirza Noctis. He still has all 7 of his dice. And we now have 4 results of 1. So we are going to gain another Dark Grace. We are going to gain Sanity's Penchant. Once per game turn per hero, a hero may spend 1 energy to roll the hex die. If the result is equal to or lower than Sanity Penchant's rank, that hero loses 1 madness. So we could have our monk try and get rid of this madness. That might be a good thing. All right, so the rank of Sanity's Penchant is currently 4. I won't use it just yet. Let's take a look at what we've rolled. We have 4, 6, 8, 11. So our result is an 11. Until the end of the game turn, increase your movement speed by 1, and you may adjust the circumstance die result by 1. So Noctis is helping us move faster. This is definitely a great boon for us at this moment. So we're going to move recklessly this turn. This is going to mean that we suffer some energy drain. Before that happens, before the movement phase, I'm going to have our scout roll his 3 recon and camouflage. We have a 1 success. So 1 success will give us a little bit of a bonus later. Let's see. Then we are going to... Should we use Rune Seeker right away? Let's do that. Once per game turn for 1 health, you may roll a stat test against your highest ranked mastery. Yes, please. We're going to use the moon die instead of a core die for this effect. And this is a 6. That is a success. 1 target is going to gain 6 energy from this effect. That is going to be our Bard. So that has healed our Bard, and that's going to give us a little bit extra to help mitigate the damage from moving recklessly. We take 2 energy drain. And then we are going to be able to move 4, 5, 6, plus 1 from Noctis is 7 hexes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're almost there. That's okay. All right, let's see what happens during the skill phase. Now, we've moved recklessly, so we cannot roll one of the 2, either explore or survival. We have plenty of food, so I'm going to not roll survival, and we're going to automatically fail that one. We lose 2 food and 1 food over here. All right, so we're going to roll green and yellow. And we have a 8 on green. That means we all fail the navigate roll. We are going to wander. And we roll a 4, which means we gain 2 gold over here from the Bard. Bard is able to make a little bit of gold on this journey. And finally, we're going to wander. Let's roll the wander die and consult our wander graphic here. And we gain a 4. We're wandering 1 hex this way. All right. The next thing that happens is we're going to go and do a circumstance. Let's go ahead and roll that. D6. We gain a 4. We have observation tower here. So let's take a look at that one. A princess was once trapped in this tower before Noctis's rule. It is said she suffered from a terrible curse and was locked away for everyone's safety. From up in her tower, she could see the land stretch far into the horizon. She must have dreamed about being free. Place the observation tower token here. All right. It's going to be this one. You may immediately discard up to 4 circumstances in play and replace them with new ones. Up to once per turn when the group moves through or begins the movement phase in this hex, discard a circumstance of your choice. So begins the movement phase. You can discard a circumstance of your choice and draw a new one to replace it. That's pretty cool. All right, so I will go ahead and place that right here. And then we get to refill this card. This is an interrupt event. Preparation for a new moon. Noctis's agents work tirelessly, enforcing his enigmatic commands. Things are moving swiftly now, and he seems to know exactly what he's doing. Draw the top 12 cards from the night deck and set aside any treasures drawn. Increase Noctis's blood pool by 1 for every 2 cards that are not treasures, then shuffle those cards back into the deck. For each treasure found, discard 1 night slot circumstance of your choice and place the treasure there instead. If you run out of slots, discard any remaining. Wow, so preparation for a new moon. Noctis is having his collectors unearth treasures that abound. We're going to draw the top 12 cards from the night deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And we have 1 treasure. Only 1 treasure. So that's 11 other cards. Increase his blood pool by 1 for every 2 cards that are not treasures. So we are going to go back up to 100 blood. All right, and then totemic figurine we get to place on the board. Now this says shuffle those cards back into the deck. Okay, so we are going to reshuffle the night deck with these cards re-added into the deck. And then we are going to get rid of one of these locations. Let's go with this one because it's so close, or it's so far away. We now have 2 treasures on the night deck here. We will likely start moving during the night after we lose the last monastery here to disaster. All right, so now let's move this over to here. And finally, the day card, we have another interrupt event, near-death experience. Just now, a section of the earth fell away from your feet, sending you rushing head first down into a deep, cold lake. So while we were in this tower, while you struggle to make your way back to the surface, your lives flicker before your eyes, and you see all of the things you've done and the people you've met along the way. Each hero roll all skills. Those who fail navigate suffer 1 critical wound. All right. All skills. Okay, so we all fail navigate. We are all suffering 1 critical wound. I'm taking 3 critical wound cubes, and I'm going to place them in the critical wound bar. Now, if you'll notice, I've also placed one at the very end where this is the max critical wounds that our heroes can suffer. If they suffer more than that, then if they suffer the cube that leads up to that, the cube just before that, they will die from critical damage. So I'm going to place 1 in each of these tracker trays here. Those who succeed Explorer may flip over their keepsake and look at it. We have a failure. We needed a 3. A 3 is a failure, and a 6 is a that is a good thing. So we get to flip over our keepsake and look at it. Let's take a look. So the Bard's keepsake is a utility or healer. Now, he is not either of these, so he does not get a bonus. But let's take a look at the abilities that he might gain if he were to die. So, supernatural speed. Up to once per combat round, when an opponent blocks, defends, or evades an ally's attack, you may negate that block, defend, or evasion. If you are a utility in life, we don't get the extra. Premonition. You may look at the top card of any deck, then say one of the following about the card to the group: opponent type or level, card type, or power-up type. After the information is conveyed, you may spend 1 additional stat rank to discard that card. All right, so that gives us a little bit of a glimpse into what we might be able to do with the Bard after his keepsake activates. Those are both some pretty good things. Obviously, we want to keep him alive, so we will keep that right here for now. All right, and then finally, we have a hex on survival. Those who succeed survival may draw and gain a random keepsake. So we're going to be able to gain another keepsake, each of our heroes. Oh, man. All right. So I'll shuffle the keepsake deck here, and each of our heroes are going to gain an additional keepsake that we just place underneath the original. So they will have a little bit extra bonus here if one of them were to die to help the rest of the team. All right, and so that was the Interrupt event near-death experience. Also an expansion card. Let's go ahead and draw the next card. All right, we find Hidden Forge. This is an Explorer investigation on J. This is going to net us a green rune. Where is J? Oh, it's right here. Right there. Right here, actually. Okay, so that's actually pretty good. We can actually gain that green rune here. All right, so then finally, I don't think we're going to use the Observation Tower's discard effect. I think we're okay with what we have here. That will end the circumstance phase. Now we move into the event phase. There isn't an event that will happen on this location. So we go into the villain phase. Villain is going to reduce the blood pool by 1, and we're back to 99 again here. So Noctis really has been able to build his blood back up. Then we will have the horror roll on the table, and we gain an 8. That does not have an effect. And finally, the horror moves twice. 1, 2. And that will be the end of that game turn. Actually, before the end of that circumstance phase, we actually can play another card off that day deck, that day pile here. Because we still have the Blessing of the Sun, we can also play another day card. So let's grab these Blaze Treaders. This is a treasure that is going to appear here on the day pile. The soles of these boots can be made to glow a bright ambient sunlight. A command seems to turn the effect on and off at your whim. You gain health regen of 2. The group gains a -2 bonus on stat tests while playing dungeon traps. Additionally, the group gains 4 extra time while in the dungeon. Well, this is a awesome card to have. So I'm going to place our Blaze Treaders here. I'm going to give it to the Scout, and that is going to increase the Scout's Navigate and Explore by 1. So we have 5 and 4. And we will redraw this slot. We have a Nature card in play. All right, that ends the round. Okay, and we're back. Night has fallen behind me here. It is now a great opportunity for me to continue playing our adventure. We have had just an awesome first start to this game. In fact, Noctis has been able to recover all of his blood that he had lost earlier in the game due to a rare card that we had drawn. Now, we are going to be facing utter destruction as Disaster, the first horror, is on its way to take the last two of the monasteries. And it's already a level 7 boss. When it takes the next monastery, it will be a level 8. And then finally, it will be a level 9. And I think what we're going to do is head to monastery number 2. We're going to spend some of our gold and prepare to fight Disaster and take out this first horror. Let's roll to see what Noctis has in store for us. All right, so we have 4 2s, and that will allow us to either get a new Dark Grace. We currently have the first Dark Grace, Sanity's Penchant, or we can get the second Grace, Unhinged Geas. I think we're going to stick with the first one. We've already seen how the second one works, so why don't we stick with the first one for now. So what do we have here? So we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 for our total. And it says until the end of the game turn, increase your movement speed by 1, and you may adjust the circumstance die result by 1. All right, so we're now going to enter the movement phase. We're going to move 1 from this location. Now, we're moving from the observation tower Discovery. If we wanted to, we could use this ability to discard cards and draw new ones. I don't think we're going to do that. I think we're probably... Well, we could do the nature card here. Meteor Shower. Do we want to get rid of this one? For the next 4 game turns, each hero rolls a stat test against a mastery of their choice during the skill phase. If successful, that hero finds 1 sky medal. If it critically succeeds, find 2 instead. You may trade 1 sky medal for 1 gear upgrade of your choice in a location that sells items. Now, we'll keep that just in case if we can get some gear upgrades from it. That's a pretty good card to have, especially because we haven't unlocked any of the crypts, so we don't even have access to purchase the gear upgrades just yet. All right, so what we're going to do is we've moved 1. That is cautious movement. Let's go ahead and roll our skills for the 3 heroes here. We have 7. We move cautiously, so that's okay. We're not going to wander. Let's see what else. We have a 9 on Explorer, so we do not gain any gold, but we do save ourselves from eating. We find maybe a raspberry bush or something. All right. The next thing that we're going to do is we are currently skipping the circumstance phase. Let's go ahead and use Rune Seeker. So this is that treasure that we have found while we were up north here. So let's go ahead and use this. We are going to roll a stat test against a mastery of our choice using the moon die. Okay, and if we get a success, we heal 1 target's energy equal to the roll result. If we get a critical success, we actually get a random rune, which is going to just be awesome for turning in. All right, so we roll a 2. Oh, that is so close to a actual crit success there, but that's all right. That it is going to be a energy heal of 2. So let's go ahead and give that to Wonder Thumple. Okay, next thing we're going to do is let's go ahead and use our Bard's ability. Up to once per game turn, while you're in a location that sells items, you may spend 2 energy to roll a stat test against a mastery of your choice. All right, so we're going to do this again, try and get a little bit more gold. I'm really looking for a critical success here. So what I'm going to actually do, and this might be surprising, I'm actually going to roll against Song of the Troubadour. This is only a rank 2 ability here. So you're going to see why in just a second. I think we found an interesting synergy here. Okay, so let's go ahead and grab a blue D10 here. I'm going to roll this, and we need a hex or a 2. Oh my gosh. Can you see this? This is a hex. I just rolled a hex. I was going to fail this and then show you how we were going to actually turn this into a hex. But I don't have to this turn because we rolled a hex. All right, so we'll have to show you next turn. That's uncanny. All right, so we roll a hex. The bard is basically telling the story about when we went into this haunted house and we were able to basically destroy the spirits that were haunting this place. And the crowd is just eating the story up. All right, so we get 2 gold and we get a power-up that applies to the entire group. So let's go ahead and draw that. And we have +1, defend, and explore. So this is going to be applied to the entire group. I can't believe we rolled a hex there. That was pretty crazy. I was ready for that to not succeed. All right, so we have just gained this. The barrels contain blood. They cannot have gathered that much, right? All right, so there we have it. All right, so then we can go ahead and spend our gold. I think we're going to stay here next turn, so I'm not going to actually spend my gold just yet. We're going to camp here, and we're going to wait for disaster to basically trample the landscape and come to us. All right, so the next thing that happens is the villain phase. We're going to reduce the blood pool by 1. And then we are going to roll on the villain table. And we get a 6. All right. So this is going to reduce Noctis's blood pool by 1 for each horror in play. All right. So there's 1 horror in play. Goes down to 97 blood. Okay, and then we have disaster moving 2 hexes. 1, actually, yeah, he's still moving 2. If we take a look at his placard here, we see that at level 5, he moves 2 per turn. At level 9, he's moving 4 per turn. He's currently level 7. All right, so 1 more is going to cover this location. So here comes another hex token. And the third of 4 monasteries has been destroyed. That leaves our Grace of the Dawn only at a level 1. So we are only gaining a -1 bonus to our event phase stat tests. Okay? All right, so next turn, let's roll Noctis's dice. All right, and we have 5, 10, 13. That is, each hero chooses 1 to gain until the end of the game turn. You boost an ability rank, block, or evasion. So I think what we'll do, we're currently camping here now, right? So we're actually going to be healing. So let's go ahead and increase our vitals accordingly. Then we are going to go into the skill phase, which we don't have to play. Circumstance, we don't have to play. The event phase. Let's go ahead and try this Rune Seeker again. So we are going to spend a health to do this. I don't think I spent the health last turn, so I'm going to reduce the monk's health by 2 instead. We are going to roll this 12-sided die against a mastery of our choice, and we need a 6 or lower. And that is a 7. So check it out. Here is the synergy that I was kind of thinking about earlier. We have this awesome treasure that we received while we were adventuring. We also have Bob the Skull, Aperian. And this knowledge spirit actually has a special ability that I think has a great synergy for this. So check it out. Spirit of Intellect. Whenever a hero fails a stat test, they may gain 1 madness to treat the test as if it were a critical success. So if we are looking at this Rune Seeker, now we've just gained a random rune because the Aperian, Spirit of Intellect, is allowing us to take 1 madness and turn that into a crit success. All right, so that means we not only get the heal, which is going to be 7, it turns it into a critical success, but the value stays the same. Here it is. So let's I'll give the heal to Xavian here. It also means we're gaining a random rune. So if we check out the battle map, we can actually roll a 12-sided die to generate a random rune. That is a 12, that's a triangle rune. So we now have 2 triangle runes, 2 purple runes, and 1 circle. All right, so that was pretty good. Next thing that we're gonna do is the Bard. Let's go ahead and have the Bard try. So the Bard is going to roll, now you see what I mean. We're gonna roll against our lowest mastery, and then our skull, floating skull, is going to allow us to gain madness to treat it as if it were a critical success. That is a 10. That is a critical failure. But Aperian is basically helping us turn this into a crit success. What a legendary ally indeed. My Bard is taking a madness and consulting with this spirit, and now we have turned that into a crit success. We gain 1 gold from that, and the group gains another power-up. Oh, you guys, +1 to each ability. This is a +4 ability power-up. Oh my gosh, this is going to be great. Okay, it'll take me a minute to get our heroes taken care of. And get this, our familiar is part of the group, and our familiar has attack. So our familiar's attack rank has also gone up by 1. It is now rank 3. All right, so the Living Blade is rank 3 for attack. That is awesome. So this has just been an awesome series of events for us. We've found a pretty amazing synergy here. All right, so someday we shall be hailed as heroes, but that is not why I work. For me, it is simpler than this. All right. That ends the event phase. We're going to go into the villain phase here. Blood loss. We're at 96 currently, and then we're going to roll for disaster. We roll a hex that is drawing from his deck here. All right, so we are going to draw this card, and here's that boss enhanced. Remember how I said we looked at the deck and we changed where the cards were? Well, it looks like we've found the first boss enhance card. Now it says Paradox. We can sacrifice a purple rune to discard this card. Let's see what it says. The few who have tried facing disaster say time itself was their greatest adversary. Everything goes horribly wrong the closer they get to it. While facing disaster at the beginning of the declaration phase, if a hero's timeline matches another target's timeline, that hero suffers 2 energy drain. Yeah, I feel like we need to get rid of this card. I really don't want to suffer 2 energy drain. But is it more valuable for us to use that purple rune as a power-up reward? Well, we don't have to decide now. We can decide before we actually face disaster, which is going to be in like 5 minutes anyway. All right, I think we'll leave it for right now, and we will come back to this. I'm gonna put a button in it here. All right. So we have paradox to deal with. Time is working strangely against us. At the end of that round, we are going to move disaster twice. It looks like he will not be here next round, next game turn. He will be here the round after. All right, that is going to be the end of the turn. Let's go ahead and roll Noctis. And he still has all 7 of his collectors. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 12. And 12 is, again, we're getting that boost, block, or evasion. Hopefully we'll get that when we face the boss. I would really like to have that when we are actually fighting him. All right. We're staying in our spot here, so we are going to heal. Everybody's at full. 6. Yep, even Wonder Thumple here is at full. Let's go ahead and use Rune Seeker again. That was a fun synergy. So we are going to have Soon Lightbringer is going to use Rune Seeker in the depths of this monastery to see if we can unearth ancient runes. And we roll a 2. So unfortunately not. That is a success. It was a good try though. We are going to gain an energy heal. That's okay. We're all at full. So next thing that happens is the Bard is going to use Song of the Troubadour one more time. And we're going to hope for a loss here. Let's see if this is a 4 or higher. And it's a 4. All right. So the Bard is going to consult with Empyrean, gain a madness, and treat that as a critical success. Now, the critical success is going to give him 1 gold. And it is going to give the group another power-up. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I don't even know how we... Holy cow. Okay, this is... Guys, this is another +1 to each ability. This is the blessed card. There's only 1 card like it in the power-up deck, and it bestows the blessed greater aspect onto a hero. And heroes can all gain the same blessing. Like, you can gain the blessing more than once. So all 3 of our heroes just became blessed from the Bard's ability in using this, and Empyrean piggybacking his power into this. So, holy crap. All right, a warm light illuminates your skin, easing your troubled thoughts. Then a soft, angelic voice resounds for all to hear. Do not walk alone, child. Face the rising darkness with our blessing. So the entire group was just blessed by angels. Keep this card when you gain it and gain the stat bonus below at the end of a game turn. All right, so there is a caveat here. At the end of a game turn in which you've imparted runes in a monastery, we are in a monastery, so this is perfect. Gain the blessed greater aspect. Only one hero may gain the aspect reward if this was a group power-up. So we did save ourselves there. Okay, remove this card from the game afterward. Now, all right, so I think what I'm going to do is after, I was going to put it up to the community. Who should we give the blessing to? But I also want to face disaster at the end of this video. So I have this confliction in my head. Do we go ahead and face disaster? Or do I go ahead and give the blessing? I think we'll give the blessing to Wonder Thumple because the leprechaun was the one singing in the tavern in this inn here. All right, but that does mean that everyone is gaining that +1 to all abilities. So again, what are the chances? I'm going to give each of our heroes a +1 all abilities. Okay, and of course, our familiar, the Living Blade, has also gained that attack rank. So one more thing is we are not going to gain this Blessed until we actually activate or impart runes in this monastery. So let's take a look at imparting these runes. Grab the monastery placard, which is over here. Okay, and we currently have 5 runes. We have a circle, 2 triangles, and 2 star runes. All right, the first rune you impart to a monastery is worth 1 power-up per hero. Mark the rune type in the table below, then discard it. The second rune's rewards are determined whether it matches the first rune or not. If it matches, all further runes imparted to this monastery must match. Otherwise, you must complete a set. All right, so we don't have any diamond runes, but we could use the purple rune as if it were a diamond. So that means that we could actually have a complete set. So let's take a look. Runes imparted here may not match another until one of each type is turned in. Each hero gains 1 power-up for each rune turned in. Upon the second and third turn in, immediately reduce the blood pool by 5. Blood pool reductions in the expansion that stem from imparting or activating runes are not actually reducing the blood pool. Okay. Once a full set has been imparted, gain that monastery's grace and reset its turn-ins. Okay, so we already have the grace of the sun from this location, so it doesn't really give us any additional. All right, so we are going to gain 1, 2, 3. If we use one of the purple runes as if it were a green, which I think we're going to do, then we are actually turning in 1 of each type. So we're turning in our circle, 1 purple, and 1 triangle. And that's going to leave us with 1 triangle and 1 purple left. Now, if we turn in that last triangle, we will now have 4 power-ups that we are gaining each. So each hero is going to gain 4 power-ups, and we are now imparting runes to this monastery, which means we gain this blessed greater aspect. All right, so our scout is gaining a +3 second mastery. Good God. +1, choose one, +1 to first mastery or a +3. Let's go with the +3 to energy. +1 first mastery and navigate. And finally, a +1 second mastery. All right, so that is for Xavian. Now we have +2 attack for our monk. We have +1 choose one second mastery, or +3 health. Let's go with +3 health. And then +3 navigate. That's pretty good. All right, and that fourth one is favorite opponent. Gain 1 additional favorite opponent type or subtype from the list below. So it doesn't look like we can select Ascendant, which is going to be our enemy type here. So we will instead, let's go with humanoid. All right, so there we have it for our monk. +1 second mastery, and attack and navigate. So nice. And for the choose one, I think we'll go with the energy for the bard for that 4th one. All right, so those are our turn-ins. Last but not least, let's give the monk the blessed greater aspect. It's right on top. Blessed. Holy power flows through you. Treat the number of attack gear upgrades you have as 2 higher when overcoming an opponent's Aegis. This does not increase its damage or other effects. Your skin casts an angelic glow and a calm aura surrounds you. Beings of darkness cower in your presence. I think I said the monk before. I meant Wanderthumple. So seeing our leprechaun as like angelic glowing being and a calm aura surrounding him just doesn't seem right, but maybe it's perfect. All right, embrace the light. In combat, you may spend 4 energy to give health regen to the group equal to 1/3 your defend rank for 2 rounds and boost their action ranks by 1 while they have this regen. You may declare this as your only action in combat to reduce the energy cost to 0. And then surrounded by darkness. At the beginning of combat, roll 1 die per opponent. If the result is odd, the opponent gains hatred against you. All right, so let's go ahead and apply the blessed aspect to Wanderthumple the Bard. And it also has the added effect, now that he's angelic, that he no longer has to eat. So our bard is going to be sustained by the universe from now on. From henceforth. Okay, so what an amazing sequence of events have led us to this spot, right? Like, I feel like it's been pretty fun for me. Obviously, I've been having a blast, but I hope you guys are enjoying this too. This synergy is pretty wicked. All right, so then we're going to go into the villain phase, the blood pool. I almost said dead pool. Blood pool is going to go down. We are at 95. We're going to roll a 12-sided die. This is 11, so this is going to be that clue migration for disaster. Rewrite history. We still don't have any clues in play. We just have not been basically gaining crit successes to place clues, and we haven't been rolling those slots for those investigations. So, but that's okay. That just means that nothing has happened from disaster this turn, and then it is going to move to 1, 2. Ladies and gentlemen, it is closing in on us now. All right. So the next thing that we are going to do is let's see what Noctis has in store for us. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 14. And that is boost an ability rank by 3. We gain block of 5, or we gain evasion. So let's take a look at Disaster's placard here. Does he do a lot of piercing damage? I don't see any piercing. So I'm going to go with, we are taking the block. Noctis has given us a shield to block some of the damage that is incoming. Now, if we take a look, the horror has taken 3 of the 4. That means it is now level 8. So let's write that down on its placard here. All right. And the next thing that we're going to do is we are going to move. We are going to move to the to this horror because we do not want it to destroy our last location to purchase items from a monastery. All right, so we're going to move 1. Now, if you'll notice, we have 4 different icons that are attached to this particular token. Disaster's tokens. Each hex of Disaster's tokens contain a stat icon. The nature of this being makes it difficult to find its exact location. Before the group faces Disaster in combat, the group must check their position on the token and roll the applicable stat test. At least half the group must succeed in order to face this boss. Otherwise, the heroes can't find it and may try again next turn. So there is a chance that we do not actually locate this boss because of its nature. It defies gravity and time. All right, so the first thing we're going to do as we enter the movement phase is our scout is going to use recon and camouflage. So we're going to spend 1 energy. We're going to roll the 3 dice. And actually, at rank 7, you may spend 1 additional energy to roll 6 stat tests instead of 3. Yeah, let's do that. So he's going to roll 6 of these. Against rank 7, we have 3, 4, 5, 6. We have all 6 of them are successes. So now he has 6 opportunities to use these in really cool ways, and we are totally gonna game this system here. You guys are gonna see how easy it is for us to defeat this horror now that we've gained some of this stuff that we have. All right, so this horror starts with 80 health and 80 energy. All of our heroes combined don't even come close to those vitals, but we're going to see how this unfolds. All right, so we are moving. Let's move 1, and let's go with, I think we're going to go with the blue second mastery. So we're just going to move 1, and we're moving to the location that has the blue icon on it, the second mastery. Now, basically what we're doing is we have to roll this stat test to see if we can face this particular boss in this location. If this fails, we won't be able to do that. Now, before we do that, we do have to roll skills because we are technically we are stopping our movement here. So, skills first. All right, hex, and a 10. Now, oh, this presents a fun scenario. So we have just rolled 2 hexes and a 10. If we take a look at the skill placard here, multiple critical successes at the bottom. All right, in addition to the normal bonuses, roll the moon die. The group gains a random rune. The group may only gain this once per game turn. Choose to gain the 2 of 3 bonus. Do not gain both. In addition to the normal bonuses, draw 1 power up. Each hero gains the bonus. So we can actually, right now we can take this as a 2 of 3. But we can use Aperian's special ability to take a madness. And we are going to treat this as a critical success. All of a sudden, this 10 goes to a critical success, and now we have 3 critical successes in the skill phase. And everyone is going to be gaining that 2 gold as well from the explore success. Oh, I didn't even spend our gold in the monastery. That's how confident I am against disaster right now. All right, so let's draw that power up. We have +1 second mastery and explore. The collectors are liars. They'll take the blood from each of us if we let them. All right, so let's add that to our heroes. And look at that. We actually stopped on the second mastery, so this is going to make it even easier for us to locate disaster. Wow. All right. So, let's put this away. All right, so that is the skill phase. We do not have a circumstance. This is currently a boss location. We are now going to roll our blue, dark blue second mastery. I'm going to roll it for each of our heroes. We need to get 2 out of the 3, need to make this roll in order for us to face disaster in this spot. And we have a green against a 12. 6 is a success. Yellow is a crit fail. That is a failure, but we have a crit success here for the Bard. Our Bard and Xavian Moontide are able to see this creature, and we're able to enter combat with it. All right, so here it goes, everyone. Let's go ahead and see what disaster does against us. So, disaster has... has 80 health and 80 energy. If we take a look at Disaster's passive, Distortion Field, roll the moon die at the beginning of combat to determine Disaster's starting Outlast. Then each hero rolls a core die. Each hero's result and Disaster's Outlast represents their timeline. All right, so let's do that. We're going to roll a 12-sided die for Disaster, and we roll a 2. 2 for Disaster. Okay, now we're going to roll Outlast for our Scout, our Monk, and our Bard. We're generating a timeline for each of these heroes against this particular boss. All right, so we have a 10 for Navigate. So our Scout has a 10. Our Monk has a 2, which matches. Our our Monk matches the timeline of Disaster. And we have a 3 for the Bard. So the Bard has 3, okay? All right, so all other targets are not in a timeline and are targeted normally. So we have Aperion, and the Living Blade can't be targeted, but we do still have that familiar as a someone who's helping us here in combat as well. Okay, timelines can't be reduced to 0 and are not reduced at the end of each round. Heroes who target Outlast may instead adjust their own timeline by 1. When targeting an ally or disaster, heroes suffer a penalty to their action rank equal to the difference between their own timeline and their targets. So check this out. Our Scout now has a difference of 8. Our Monk shares the timeline, so our Monk is not going to have any difference. Our Bard is going to have a -1 rank, okay? All right, so let's take a look. We are going to see what type of creature this is. This is an Ascendant creature. What I think we're going to do is let's go ahead and use Aperion's special ability, Prodigium Peritus. Up to once per game turn, each hero may gain 1 madness to gain favored opponent against an opponent type of their choice until the end of the turn. So Aperion, this skull, this spirit of intellect, is giving us favored opponent with disaster. That means we're all taking another madness hit here. We all have 3, let's see, we have 3 on our Monk and 3 on our Bard. We have 2 madness on our Scout. All right, so I think what we do now is, now that we have favored opponent, we are going to start to look at how this unfolds. The Bard is going to use Dirge of the Dead, boost the health, energy, and influence favored opponent damage the group deals by Dirge of the Dead rank, or you automatically succeed against target's Outlast. So each of us are gaining 9 damage to our favorite opponent damage because of the Bard's Dirge of the Dead. So he's going to spend 1 energy to use his purple. All right, so he's not technically targeting the horror, so he gets to keep his rank at that same rank. We are going to use cleanse, the monk here, and so that is going to cost us 1, and that means we're going to have a heal coming in, as well as a possible negation of a condition, so that'll be good. Our leprechaun is blessed, so we actually have to see if this surrounded by darkness goes off. Let's see if that does. We're going to roll any die. Roll 1 die per opponent. If the result is odd, the opponent gains hatred. And it is odd. Okay. Disaster now has hatred against our blessed bard. So he will be more likely to be targeted, and he's going to be suffering a little bit more damage. All right, the scout. The scout is going to use honed instincts. Mark the opponent until the end of combat. All attack abilities deal piercing damage to marked opponents. Each hero using defend reduces healing marked targets receive. Superior tactics may be used twice per round against marked opponents. At rank 5, and you use evasive maneuvers while facing a marked opponent, you may use a number of items. Okay, so what we're going to do is we will use honed instincts for 1 energy. And now let's see what disaster is doing. So, before we do that, we have this favorite opponent damage to roll. And Wonder Thumple is giving us that +9. So that's pretty great. Let's go ahead and roll that. So from the scout, we have incoming attack damage of 5 plus 9 is 14 damage that cannot be reduced. We have the monk, who is also gaining this, is going to gain 2 plus 9 is 11. Finally, we have our bard, gains a hex, so that is 6 plus 4. But hang on, he's a leprechaun. Up to 3 times per game turn, you may spend 1 gold to modify a damage roll, a skill roll, or a circumstance roll by 1. The new result may even hexplode. So he is going to spend 2 gold. Our leprechaun is spending some of that hard-earned cash that he's hoarding here to make this another 6. So that's 12. Oop. And then 2, so that's 14 plus 9 is 23. Okay, so now that we are done with that, let's see what disaster is doing here. So we're going to roll for disaster, and we roll a 5. Chrono shift. Disaster's timeline shifts to 1. Any hero whose timeline is equal to or between 1 and disaster's previous timeline suffers health damage equal to its timeline, its level plus their timeline. Oh my gosh. All right, here's where we're going to take some damage. If disaster's timeline was already 1, it shifts to 12 and the group suffers 12 plus level health damage. Okay. All right, so instead of a timeline of 2, it goes to a timeline of 1. So we are seeing the monk, whose timeline was 2, is going to suffer 8 plus 2, which is 10 total health damage. So we have 10 health damage coming in. We do have our block yet from Noctis, which will reduce that by 5. So that is going to be 5 total damage. Oops, I should write this as a 10. That means he has taken 5 damage. The other 2 heroes are not affected by this. They have not actually, they were not between Disaster's timeline. Okay, so then the next thing that happens is our living blade, which is the familiar, is going to it's not wielded, so anytime you use an ability to target an opponent, it attacks that opponent, dealing piercing health damage equal to living blade rank. Now, he targeted the opponent with honed instincts, which means the opponent is marked. That means the living blade has also attacked for 4 piercing damage. So let's add this up. We have 23, 34, 38, 48, 52 damage. $52 damage. That was pretty good for our first round. Is there any other effects? We had this cleanse go off on one target, and they heal half cleanse rank health. So he is actually healing, and you can heal a target's health equal to your current energy. So not only is the monk gaining his passive heal, which is a heal of 11, but he's also giving another heal, and no one is damaged. So he's just going to go up to full health. All right, so next round, we're going to defeat this guy with our favorite opponent damage alone. Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's go ahead and roll that. So we have the Scout, 4 plus Dirge of the Dead is going to be sustained this round. So he is going to use that again this round. And so that is going to be 13. The monk gets a hex and a 1. So that's 7 plus 9 is 16. And then our bard rolled a 1 for a total of 10 damage. Okay, so our monk is going to simply use cleanse again, and that will just keep whoever suffers damage, will keep them alive. Xavian is going to use, man, he can't really even target the disaster here because of the difference between his timeline and disaster. He can't see this creature. Disaster's timeline is 1. Xavian's timeline is 10. So there's no way that we can actually do that. All right, so instead, we are going to have Xavian just use... he's just going to defend this round. I think we're doing enough damage just with all 3 of us doing our favorite opponent damage. We do have Aperian who can also be doing something. So let's go ahead and roll his action. 1 single piercing health damage equal to the amount of madness the group has. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So he will have done 8 damage last round, for a total of 60. And this round, we get a 3, and that's going to reduce his energy from 24 down to 21. And it basically is going to be a defend and a heal. So we're going to get a heal out of Aperian as well. All right, so let's see what disaster has in store for us this round. We roll a 5 again, Chrono Shift. If its timeline was already 1, it shifts to 12, and the group suffers 12 plus its level. That's 20 health damage. Oh my gosh. The group is suffering 20 health damage. All right. So let's take a look. Our scout has defended this turn. So he takes 20 minus the block, which is 5. So he's taking 15 minus his evasive maneuvers, which is 8. So he will take 8 damage. He currently has 8 health. This will kill him. Aperion is actually healing this turn. So let's take one of the heals for Xavian. This heal is going to give him 4 health, and it keeps him alive. All right. The monk is suffering 20 health damage, and that is going to also destroy our monk here. 20 minus 5 for the block is 15 total health damage. Our soon Lightbringer has 15 total health, so she will also go down to 0 health. However, Aperion's health is a dual heal 4 health. That means each target is healing 4 health. 2 targets, that means the skull has kept our monk alive as well, and she comes back with 4 health remaining. Finally, if we look at our bard, we know that he is hated by this particular entity. So he's taking even more damage. If we look at what that's over here. Hatred. Opponents with hatred are more likely to target and deal more damage to heroes of a specific type. Heroes of the specified type suffer a +2 penalty to their target die, and these attacks deal additional damage to the hated hero equal to the opponent's level. Oh my gosh. So our poor bard is going to be suffering 28 damage. Can we save him with this? I don't know. So he has 11 health currently. He has 5 block from Noctis. That's going to reduce the 28 to 23. We have soon Lightbringer. She used Cleanse. And anytime you use an ability or evade an attack, you heal a target's health equal to your current energy. She has current energy of 10. So 23 minus 10 is 13 health damage. But she also has Cleanse that is going off here. So that hero gains a -1 bonus to all stat tests, and they heal half Cleanse rank health. So 4. Boy, so there's a lot of numbers here. So we have 28 minus 5 minus 11 is 16, so that's 12. Minus another 4 is 8. He has 3 health remaining at the end of this round. 3 health remaining. Did we do enough damage to take out Disaster? Let's add it up. So he was at 60. We had 13, 16, and 10 coming in. That's 20. That's enough. Disaster has been destroyed. Whew. All right. So we just took out a level 8 horror, and that means a couple of things. The next horror is now appeared on the board. The blood pool is dropping down to 80. So it is currently at 80. And then we get some rewards for this battle as well. We have saved the people in this monastery. We said we're sorry to all the other people in the other monasteries. We let them all perish here. But Disaster is no more. Whew. Awesome. So let's take a look. Disaster is going to give us a whole bunch of bonuses here. So first of all, our single rewards. We have a +3 to first mastery and a +3 to second mastery. Let's roll to see who is going to gain. I cannot believe all 3 of our heroes survived. 4 health, and 3 health. And really, we only survived because of Aperion here. We do not have a huge damaging party here. We have no strikers, and that's pretty cool, though. All right. So we have 2 9s. We have 2 6s, and we have a 9. So the 9 is our blue, which is our bard, and the 6s are going to roll off. And we have Xavian, our moon elf, coming out with the win. So the first +3 first mastery is our bard. We now have 12 rank. And also, hang on, heal in time. For the remainder of the game, healer rolls that heal a target with a mastery also give that target health regen. if the target has less madness than the hero. So the bard does not have less madness. I was thinking that the monk would be giving madness to our bard, but she has not. Okay, so then we have the +3 second mastery going to Xavian here. Okay, and then we have some gold to give away. We have 8 gold each. And then we have 3 power-ups each. And we have +3 first mastery. Nice. We have +3 survival, also awesome. And we have +2 choose 2 stats. Awesome. So let's go with health definitely here. And attack, definitely. We need more damage. All right. So Xavian is done powering up here. Let's see what Soon gets. We have +1 defend and navigate. That is a orange and green. We have a +1 first mastery and survival. And we have +4 energy. Keep this card after gaining its rank bonus. You may discard it to remove 2 madness. Let's do that right away. We're going to get rid of some of our madness. So we're taking 2 madness away from our monk. We were able to destroy this disaster. All right, and then we gain favorite opponent a heal here for our favorite opponents. All right, so we have keep this card when drawn. While you have this card, whenever you face a favorite opponent, you may choose to heal instead of affecting their vitals. All right, so I'll keep a hold of that. All right, then we have a +1 first mastery and explore. And we have +2 health and energy. All right, so we have a blood magic tier that we're gaining from disaster. So let's take that. We have blood siphon. This spell may not be used on constructs, hordes, undead, spirit, or swarm opponents. Deal health damage equal to the amount of critical damage suffered multiplied by your tier. So our tier is currently 2. So that is that. All right. Let's put that over here. All right. Then finally we have what is called the horrific reward. And this actually occurs after we have defeated a horror. We can take a look at that horrific choice here. Each hero removes up to 3 madness, or the group may draw a number of cards from this horror's deck equal to half its level rounded down and choose to play any of them immediately. Once this option is chosen, the group may not choose the alternate option. One other thing I forgot before we actually went into combat here, this disaster had this paradox augmentation. We used our last purple rune to get rid of this. So I was saving that rune for this purpose. I just didn't say that we had used it. We did use it now, so we have no runes left. So we are all runed out, and this can get put aside. All right, so let's use that horrific choice here. We could get rid of some madness, or we can actually take a look at the cards. I think let's just get rid of the madness for now. So each hero gets to take off 3 madness, and that is gonna wipe us out completely. And there we have it. One more thing before I end. Let's go ahead and place the next horror on the board. I should end out our turn just so that we know what we're going to start in the next video. Mirza Noctis has lost one of his collector dice because the blood pool is now at 80. And so the next horror that is going to come out into the world, let's go ahead and roll to see what it is. And it is Calamity. Calamity is going to come out onto the board. Let's read to see where it is going to appear. Place Calamity on a random crypt, then it roams twice. Calamity begins in this location. All right, so we have to roll a random crypt and place Calamity on top of it. So let's go ahead and roll that. D12. And we get a 10. That is going to be the fourth crypt. If I can find it underneath these nodes here. 2, 1, 3. It's this one right here. All right, so there goes that crypt. Where should I put that? Put it right here. And Calamity. Oh, he hasn't taken it over yet. It's gonna roam twice. All right, so roam, direction closest to the wall, and then distance. So 4 and 4. Going this way, it can only go 1. All right, next hex. Going, it is right close by to this this particular crypt. All right, so that's going to end our video. I hope you guys had a great time watching it. This has been one of the most fun games I've played on camera. I can't believe this combination with Rune Seeker and Aperion and the Bard. And the Scout with being able to gain those rerolls. It's all coming together in just this awesome way. So I hope you guys had a great time. So thanks again for watching, everybody. I hope you guys have great adventures.